Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today I want to do something kind of interesting. I want to do like a recorded theory crafting session. I'm really just going to be talking about some of the thoughts I already have about Khaimera and going through why I think this is my favorite hero. This doesn't mean he's the best hero or anything, but I love this hero, and first and foremost we're going to talk about the versatility of this hero and why it's one of my favorite heroes to play. First and foremost, with the crest, you can go Warrior's Crest, which I highly recommend, or you can go Titan's Crest for Razorback if you're doing like a tank build. And that's the whole point of this video, is to talk about how versatile this hero can be. And I want to go over some of the builds that I might potentially build, or some of the options that you have, and even talk about some of the options like deeper in the build that we maybe don't always cover whenever we're doing build videos. So first and foremost, let's talk about his standard bruiser build, where I think Khaimera really shines the most. Even post nerf, it doesn't really matter. Mutilator is just king. This thing is how you shred. It's how you sustain. It's how you like fight. You know, you can really just rip through objectives, rip through people. And they nerfed it down. They nerfed the Devour passive from 8% down to 5%. They nerfed Mutilate from 1.5 to 1.25 down to 1. It's still a phenomenal first item. You really want to buy this item. Now, the second item, and this item, it may be on the cutting block every now and then, but I don't think so. So a little contradictory there, is Bonesaw. Now, here's the thing with Bonesaw. It doesn't, I don't feel like it seems like it'd be a really good Khaimera item, but let's take a look at it. It's a 400 health item, which is a lot of health. It's 2,800 gold. It's really cheap, and it's got 25 power. 25 power is a pretty decent amount. Let's look at the passives. Colossal Sunder. Every third basic attack deals bonus physical damage based on your maximum health and slows the target by 20% for 1 second. So every third basic attack, you proc that basically instantly whenever you press your Q. So you instantly slow them and then do like a damage spike based on your maximum health. And, you know, if we're going into like a bruiser build, we're going to be building some health. So, and then also you bring some additional health with this item itself. And then Flurry, dealing damage with Colossal Sunder, grants 8% attack speed for 5 seconds. So you're actually going to persist this attack speed into post Q. So like after you use your Q, you kind of continue this this attack speed flurry. So this item is just great. It's cheap. It brings you good power, brings you good health, and it kind of just continues for the building of Khaimera. Now, in the past, I've built things like Augmentation. I've built Salvation. Augmentation, I'm not a huge fan of on Khaimera, especially now because they've shifted it a little bit. It's got a lot more attack speed and less power. And so I'm kind of pulling away from Augmentation on Khaimera. I have been for quite a while anyways. I was kind of, you know, dancing around with Draconum. I think it's a pretty good item, but I'm still kind of not fully sold on this item. So a lot of what I've been going into is Tainted. Now, Tainted is good for a few reasons. And I think specifically as a third item slot for like Bruiser Khaimera, this item brings really good power, 40 physical power, 200 extra health, which is great. That plays into your Bonesaw rip. It's going to play into Salvation when we buy that later for additional health. It brings some ability haste, which is not bad. And then we have Blighted Strikes, which is obviously the Tainted section, where you reduce their healing by 40% when dealing damage. So you hit somebody, you reduce their healing. And then Hex, damaging a blighted enemy with an ability, deals 20 additional physical damage and causes them to take 10% more damage for 3 seconds. Like, you literally power spike them and then you make them take more damage. So if it's a kill target, they're just taking more damage. That's the way I read it. It causes them to take 10% more damage for 3 seconds on a 1 second cooldown. This item just makes you rip through people. So this is like this has been a pretty core 3 build, like 3 item build for like Bruiser Khaimera for me. And then this is where I like starting to throw like items that are still going to push my power but going to keep me alive. So Salvation used to be like a 3rd item buy for me. It's now like a 4 or 5 item buy. If I feel like I really need it, I can rush that. And let's go ahead and talk about it really quickly. 35 power, 500 health, 30 tenacity. This is very much still like a fighter item, but it's really tanky. And then falling below 40% maximum health grants you a large shield based on your maximum health and 10% omnivamp. So you get a big shield based on your max health and then 10% omnivamp. So you get to heal, you get to stay alive more, you get, CC, less CC because of tenacity and a lot of health. But Legacy, this item I really like. 30 physical power, 30 magic armor, 20 ability haste. So more ability haste is always good. You never really build ability haste on Khaimera. You don't really think about it, but it's always great. It's just kind of on some of these items. But 30 physical power is great. 30 magic armor is great. And then the same thing, it's like that below 40% health. So upon falling below 40% maximum health, cleanse all debuffs and gain 60% tenacity for 5 seconds on a 60-second cooldown. So, if you're getting bursted and you're in CC, this is going to rip you out of that. And that feels really, really good. And then gain bonus physical power based on your missing health for a maximum of 30. So based on your missing health, we've been building health. So as you know, you can essentially turn this into a 60 power physical power item. So this has been a really core Khaimera bruiser build for me, and there are some changes you can make for sure. You can counter build a little bit more if you really need to. You can get an armor item if you really feel like you need to. If you're getting blown up, honestly, Warden's Faith might be great because you can dive in and have Warden's Faith on, and this brings a lot of physical power and a lot of health. So there's options. Especially if you late game and you're like, man, I'm really not staying alive. You could drop your bone saw in the late game for, like Warden's Faith or something like that. So this is like a really solid bruiser option that I've been taking. Now, let's talk about the versatility of Khaimera, and why I love this hero so much is because you don't just have to be a bruiser. You can also play this character, like if you have a really tanky team, you can play this character kind of like an assassin. Now, of the 3 builds that I'll talk about, I think that this is probably my least favorite. But Assassin Khaimera, honestly, it's just about diving in really, really hard and trying to do a lot of damage. So Assassin Khaimera looks something like Sky Splitter into Ashbringer, and then you can take this build where you want to go with it. I still, whenever I have done this build in the past, I still tend to build a Mutilator on top of it. And the reason why is because the Mutilator gives you a little bit of staying power because you have that Devour to steal health, and then you have Omnivamp, and you're just kind of shredding. So this build right here this is like what I would say is like a core, and this is air quotes, Assassin Khaimera, because you are incredibly squishy if you run this build. You are so squishy. But you have Sky Splitter, which is, honestly, it's really, really strong. This item has damage, lifesteal, attack speed, crit chance. You're doing basic attacks to deal 5% of the target's current health as bonus physical damage. Mutilate deals basic attacks, deals 1% of the enemy's maximum health as bonus physical damage. So it's 5% current health versus 1% maximum health. So you're bringing like 2 types of percentage HP shred. And then Ashbringer is really kind of what brings this together, which is why I'm rushing it second. When you basically press your Q and you're just like perma spamming Q, chasing after someone, and you're trying to kill them as fast as possible. So basic attacks against enemy heroes decrease your current basic ability cooldown by 0.25 seconds. This effect is doubled when you deal a critical strike. So let's go to lane really quickly, and I'll just kind of show you what this looks like. I'll put myself at like level 6, or I don't know, I probably need to put myself a little higher, probably like 14 or something. I don't know, we'll shoot for 12. No, we'll go 14, whatever. Okay, all right, put as many points in my queue as I can, and it would look something like this. Okay, so this is what, and this is just 3 item build. It takes a while to get to this, but this is essentially you just go in and you just press Q, and then you just press Q, and then you just press Q, and then you just press Q. So this is a lot of what that kind of play style for like Assassin Khaimera is going to look like, and I've done a video on it before. Like I said, I think of all the builds you could possibly build on Khaimera, this is not the most viable, but it's possible, and it's definitely like a win more build, but you have to kind of start off building this, so you can kind of like just get yourself in the fight and rip through people, and if you get fed doing this, then it's going to be really, really hard for them to deal with. So some crazy potential. And then outside of this 3 item core build, honestly, I don't even have like a build that I would recommend to go outside of this. You could start bringing it more bruiser and just keep yourself alive. You could keep it this way. I don't know. You could go tainted, so when you dive on them, they take more damage and you reduce their healing. There's plenty of options that you could go from this, for sure. So let's go ahead and sell these now. Assuming I had like Titan's Crest and I wanted to go tanky, like let's say I went into the game knowing I wanted to be tanky. Well, this is what I've been doing lately. I still think that Khaimera needs to do some damage. He's not just a true tank. He doesn't just scale off of like health or anything. So I like Bonesaw first if I'm trying to go tanky. Bonesaw, it's the same thing. This is like where our damage comes from being tanky Khaimera, but it also gives us some health to play with. So you can either go Fire Blossom into Bonesaw. Actually, I think I've done that in the past, so I kind of just lied to y'all. For Jungle Khaimera, you can go Fire Blossom into Bonesaw. So you start off with the Fire Blossom, the Brimstone being like your jungle clear, and then you go into Bonesaw, which like gives you some damage, gives you that same slow and like burst based off of your maximum health, and then you just start building tanky from here. And it's really up to you what you want to do. You can go Dynamo if you want to. This, I don't know if this is like my preferred armor item. I haven't even fully labbed out a tank build. That's kind of why we're like live theory crafting this, because you're really only immobile immobilizing them on your ult, but it is going to make them take additional damage, and it shreds their armor. So I think that this item is just, you know, phenomenal. If you don't want to go Dynamo, you're probably looking for, you know, some kind of magic armor, physical armor items. So physical armor items that are great options. Tainted Guard you can't go wrong with. I'm not a huge fan of Citadel, I got to be completely honest, just for the sake of saying, if anybody's going to recommend that, I'm not a huge fan of it. Warden's Faith is phenomenal. I mean, this is a really big physical armor item. This is like probably one of the stronger physical armor items. You don't tend to buy it too early, but it's definitely an option. So you have like Dynamo, Tainted Guard, Warden's Faith for physical armor. And the reason why I'm looking at armors is because they most often come with health. So that's what you're looking for. As for magic armor, you have, you know, Unbroken Will. This is whenever you're immobilized, take 20% decreased damage. You're going to get CC'd as Khaimera. Like, it's just, you're just going to happen. It's going to happen. You could go Crystalline Cuirass, which is, you know, health, magic armor, ability haste. When you take ability damage, release a pulse of energy that deals magic damage. So you have some of these like tank options that give you magic damage, right? Raiment of Renewal is a phenomenal item. Now, this is a health item. Raiment of Renewal is a phenomenal item on Khaimera because it regenerates 10% of the damage taken over 5 seconds and increases all healing received by 15%. So, you know, something like Raiment third slot is probably the best that you could get out of that situation, because you're going to just be increasing your own healing. I think Salvation on a Khaimera tank build is still really good. Hell, I build Salvation on Rampage sometimes because it's just a gigantic shield and gives you some power and tenacity. So you could go something like this. If you don't want to 4-slot that, you could 5-slot that. Again, Tainted is a phenomenal option. Leviathan, probably not a bad option. There's just, you know, the funny thing is even with the Leviathan buffs, there are so many good magic like armor items that it's hard to decide what you want. You have Crystalline Cuirass, Unbroken Will, Leviathan I would say are like really big, and even Void Helm is phenomenal. This has a ton of health on it, and then for every 40 magic damage received, gain 4 magic armor and 75% base health regen for 8 seconds, stacking up to 8 times at a maximum stacks, gain 15% move speed. So this is just a ton of health. It comes with ability haste, and it doesn't have like a ton of flat magic armor item or magic armor on it, but it builds up magic armor, so you can get that up to a pretty decent amount. So you can see the point, like with Razorback, because I don't have it on, I have the Warriors Crest right now, but like with Razorback, you would just dive into a fight, you pop your Razorback, they have to deal with you. You're ripping through them, you're slowing them with Bonesaw, or slowing someone with Bonesaw, you're dealing damage with Fire Blossom. You know, if you have Salvation, you're doing some decent damage. You know, if you have Dynamo and you ult somebody or ult the pack, you're going to get some decent damage on that. What's the other option? Crystalline Cuirass, when you take ability damage, you're gonna take ability damage. You deal magic damage to all the enemies based on your maximum health. This is a health build, right? Like, you know, we have, what's the total? We have 400, 625, 1225, you know, 1725 plus whatever we get if we were to go Crystalline Cuirass. So what did I say? Like 1800 health? I don't know. I forgot. But you get the point. Like, that's just bonus health on top of whatever you're taking. So, you know, just looking at it, let's take this. We have what, 3900 health. Is that 39? Yeah, 3954 health. And then let's say we got it to level 16, right? Like, I'm at 4.2k health right now, and I'm just like incredibly tanky. And you can play this with Phoenix if you want to. That's obviously fine because you're going to respawn at 40% health. You can play it with Razorback, really just however you want to play it. So the point of this video is to talk about my favorite hero and how I think this character has 2 really strong build paths, and it's like playing it tank or playing it bruiser, but then you could also play it just like full on dive the backline and try to shred through someone really quickly as well. And you know, I've even been kind of theory crafting something. I haven't actually done it at all. Maybe I'll have to make this a video where I do something like this, where I actually drop, say, something like the Salvation, and I go tanky, but then on top of being tanky, I go Ashbringer as well. So it's like kind of like the best of both worlds, where I'm like bringing that assassin feel to the tankiness, or bringing that like bruiser feel but still having that assassin feel, where I'm just like ripping through, like being tanky, but I'm just like spamming my Q at the same time. How effective this is, I don't really know, because, you know, really I'm only damage proccing off the Bonesaw, and I'm not really getting like a Mutilator or Sky Splitter shred on these Qs, but the point is that I'm incredibly tanky while doing this. So it's an interesting thought, friends. I would love to hear your thoughts on this like theory crafting kind of session. I don't know how many of these videos I can do for all the heroes, because this is just a hero that I play like a ton of, and I see a lot of versatility for. Some of these other heroes in the games, they really have like one play style. You know, there's really not like, I wouldn't expect that there's like some crazy viable damage steal build or anything like that, but with Khaimera, he is versatile. he doesn't really scale off health super well. Like you can see that like my Invigorate Khaimera instantly cleanses all debuffs and heals himself for 400. So you get like a little bit of scaling off of having some additional health. And I think that this character is best played as a bruiser, but it's a pretty good tank. And it's an okay like backline assassin. So drop a like in the video. Let me know what you're thinking in terms of this kind of a video or this theory crafting session in general. I recommend trying some of this out. You're not going to be disappointed. It may not work on your first try, but let me know what you think. So friends, thank you so much for watching. Drop a like in the video. Subscribe for future Predecessor content. As always, be sure to be kind to one another. Tell someone you love them. And I'll see you on the next video.